Welcome to turning a moment into a movement.
Light up, just a light of mine. I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Just a light of mine. Just a light of mine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gon' let it shine. I'm gon' let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit. All I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for me. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple noodles. Hey, you know what that feel like? Do you know what it is? And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine, a little light of mine. Bad guy, doughboy weak, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, weak. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV. Ooh-wee. Cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the message when you see me fresh. Salute. You do good, brother.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight on Turning a Moment into a Movement. I am J Love, and welcome. I also represent the Justice for Gerard movement. Gerard was my son, or is my son, who was wrongly convicted of a crime he didn't do, innocent, and he went to prison for that crime. So, and because of that journey with Gerard and everyone I met on that journey, created this platform, turning a moment into a movement. Our mission, turning a moment into a movement, was inspired by the wrongful conviction of Gerard and built from the urgent need to create a safe, empowering space for all who have been harmed by injustice. Our mission is to shine a light on wrongful convictions, over sentencing, and the neglect of those who are mentally ill and medically frail within the criminal legal system. We are committed to uplifting voices, sharing truth, and advocating for those too often silenced. Through education, community organizing, and courageous storytelling, we work to disrupt systems, policies, and patterns that fuel injustice, transforming awareness into collective action and turning every moment into a movement for real change. Thank you for joining us because that's why we're here. So tonight we're so honored to have Jennifer Wallace family here with us, and we're gonna be honoring her tonight. And our title is honoring Jennifer Wallace, a family story and a call for accountability. But before I bring them on, of course, I want to bring on Trisha, who's with me tonight. This is normally a wrongful conviction night. But yeah, and there's a wrongful conviction story, even with Jennifer Wallace, and maybe we might tap into it tonight. But yeah, welcome, Trisha. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Trisha Duckworth. I am the executive director of Survivor Speak. I am one of the senior consultants at Teach Them How to Fish LLC. I am grateful to be here tonight um, with a dear family who is now our family, the Wallace family. And, you know, I was thinking about you know, so much tragedy and so much has happened. But Jennifer was so much more than just what she was labeled to be inside those walls. And if we have space, Jay, I just have a spoken word piece that I created that I would just like to say real quick before we bring the family on.
Okay.
All right, this is for Jennifer. We say your name with care, like something sacred held in open hands. Jennifer Wallace. Not just a headline, not just a story told too late, but a woman who laughed, who loved, who carried light in places that tried to dim it. You were somebody's daughter, somebody's friend, somebody's home in human form. And though the walls were cold, and though the system failed you, your spirit was never confined. There is no neglect in heaven, no silence where your voice now rises. Now, no suffering where your soul now rests. We hold your family close in this moment. May they feel you in the quiet, in the wind that brushes past their cheek, in the memories that refuse to fade. May they remember your smile louder than the pain, your love stronger than the loss, because you are not gone. You have become something greater, a whisper in every call for justice, a presence in every step toward change, a name that will not be erased. Jennifer, you are now part of the rising, of truth, of courage, of a love that refuses to let your story end here. Rest gently. We will carry what you could not.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Trisha. I just want to say, tonight we're here to listen. We're here to honor Jennifer. We're here to stand with her family, and we're here to share her story in their own words. Because on this platform, we believe something very simple: people are not just cases. They are people, they are family, and their stories deserve dignity, truth, and accountability. So tonight we just dedicate this episode to Jennifer Wallace, her life, her family, and a call for accountability. So I want to welcome Jennifer's son Nick, Jennifer brother Lloyd, and Jennifer.
Hi Jay, hi Trishay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jay and Trisha, for having our family on your show. Um, it means a lot to us during what is still a really difficult time. We're still very much in mourning, um, but we're grateful to have an opportunity to celebrate our Jennifer and share her story with your listeners.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Um, in your words, what are some of the things you want the listeners to know about Jennifer? Because we want to talk about Jennifer, your sister, your mother, your daughter, Jennifer, be the person that she is, she was, outside of all the other stuff. You can start, Nick. We can start with you, your mom.
Yeah. My mom was, you know, she was a great person, sometimes misunderstood. You know, everybody has their trials and tribulations along life, but you know, my mother was, she loved fiercely. I think my grandma mentioned earlier, she was bold in the way that she lived her life, and um, she was friends with everybody. Probably where she was before that. Every experience I've ever had with my mom was, you know, running into somebody I didn't know that she knew, or didn't know and wanted to be friends with them. So, she she was always welcoming to everybody. She always knew that, you know, as she did, everybody had things going on in their life. Um, and that didn't represent them necessarily as a person. You know, everybody deserves to be heard and have their be given the benefit of the doubt. You know, and my mom was somebody who's going to give you that, and I felt that she always deserved that as well. So, um, I miss her very much, and anybody who didn't know her missed out a little bit. But if you did know her, you were thankful you did for the, you know, for all of the great things that she brought. So.
Yeah. What about you, Lloyd?
So, Jennifer is about 16 years older than me. Um, and as I've said previously, she was in many ways the first woman after my mother that I have memory of caring for me. Um, and, I was reading her obituary again today, thinking about how it was back then in the 90s, right? Um, and how much time had passed since then, and how much we change, right? And I grew up in that time. But one thing that didn't change about Jennifer was her generous nature, right? And for someone who struggled themselves as a working class mother in a society um, that punishes you for being that. She would give you the shirt off her back, and I love that about her. And she was strong-willed. Um, she her strength of character. I feel like we get that from our mother. Um, she was very tenacious. Anything that she set her mind to, she could do. And despite whatever challenges she faced in life, what she set her mind to was building a family, right? Building a family that a beautiful family that misses her very much. Um, and I said this at her funeral, but my sister was the first person to teach me about having a healthy mistrust of law enforcement and the systems, uh, that police us and imprison us. It was Jen, who first taught me that you cannot trust the police, right? You can't um, you can't get justice in a system um, such as the one that we have here, not just in Michigan, but in the United States of America, right? Um, because when you look at Jennifer and the women that are continue to be incarcerated at the Huron Valley death camp, um, what you're seeing is working class women being punished um, to death, right? And the thing is that we have we have way bigger criminals in the world right now. I don't have to tell anybody here today about the difficulties that we're facing in this world. But let's be honest: the people that are in prison are poor and working class people. The people who are in prison um, are members of our family, right? Um, and so, yeah, it's a it's a hole you can't fill. Um, and I really do miss her so very much. Um, and so that's I'll let my mom talk a little bit about Jennifer.
What happened to the other lady, Trish?
Oh, she's
She,
she's here.
she's listening, mom. She's listening, mom.
Okay, I want that poem that you wrote. I mean, may I?
Yes, sure. I will send it to you. I will make sure that you get it.
Okay. Um. Okay. So, where'd you go? The bathroom or something?
No, I had put a picture up of the family, and so I just closed my camera so people could see the picture. So
Oh, your family.
no, of you all. It was a picture of Lloyd. It was a picture of Alexandria and a picture of Nick.
And then Jen and Joe, the other, or who?
Yep, it was just a picture that they took at the Capitol.
Oh, I wasn't in that. I
Mm.
left. It was too cold there. Anyways, back to what I'm supposed to talk about. You know, it's nice that we have three generations here uh, to give you all their perspectives, besides mine. Uh, Jen was my first. And for 13 years, we were together by ourselves. This is, it's more difficult. I haven't cried for a couple weeks now. I'm trying not to cry all the time. This kind of stuff makes me cry. I can't help it. And today I went to the no King's protest, and I had somebody come and go with me, but they didn't. They got sick, had the flu or whatever. So I went by myself, but uh, then I came back and I'm watching, you know, the TV with the King's March everywhere. Anyways, I was thinking about Jenna a lot because she used to kind of kid around with me, because she knew I was political, and she, she was, she had all, she had a lot of kids, 6 kids. So, when I'm political, we're 20 years apart. But we were close, really close. And I used to see her ever since the COVID was over. I live in Ann Arbor, so I was close that I could come in once a week to see her. I did. I went to 2 of those parole hearings. Uh, and all the stuff they did to her there was like, it was all negative. Like she's a high school graduate. She was a couple of years of college, right? And she had this teacher. They said if she had to take this GED test because they didn't have any proof uh, that she graduated from high school. So it took me and her about a month calling, where she graduated, going there in person. It was just horrible. And every time we brought them the proof they asked for, they said, "Oh no, you got to have this." And I said to Jen, "Is that the same guy saying this all the time? The same teacher?" Anyways, that took over, a month, couple of months. And then they still made her take the GED after all that college transcripts, everything. So, that's, she took the GED, she passed it, and they said, "Oh, you passed it better than anyone ever in this jail." I mean, come on. She told me that story not, maybe a couple months before she died. And I saw her the night before she died. And I wasn't even thinking it was going to be like a life-threatening thing. I mean, I already thought it was bad because I was calling the whole week before that I found out she was in the hospital. I went to see her on that Sunday, and she's in a wheelchair like this. Skin was all no color, grayish. I'm thinking that looks like kidney problems, right? I had a teacher in school one time who was on dialysis and always had that grayish skin. Anyways, so on Monday morning, I start calling Lansing. First, I call the prison. They can't give me any information, or they switch me to somebody. I rang 30 times, no voicemail, no. So every day but Tuesday was Veterans Day, so I couldn't get a hold. Nobody was around. But nobody told me. Okay, so then I called my state senator. Then I called I called this lady in Lansing who's supposed to be health questions. So I could get no information at the jail, none. Everyone I'll switch you to this one, and when I go to that one, the voice box was full several times. I told this story a million times, it feels like. Maybe you didn't hear it, I don't know. But the kids know it, And then finally, they tell me that she's in the hospital, but not until Thursday, right? All them, anyways, she's in the hospital. And I'm glad she's not in the jail, I'm glad she's in the hospital getting care, but it was terrible. Then when I saw her, and the last thing she said to me was, She's crying and saying, Mom, I don't deserve this. And I said, no, you don't. But in these last couple months, I've been thinking about like why she was so sick with this infection that was wrapped around her mechanical valve that was in her heart, and that they had to go in and cut it out. And I'm like, whoa, man, that's like some, you know. But so the doctor's talking to me the night before and all that, and explains to me that the IV with the antibiotics in wasn't killing this terrible infection. All right. Still, you know what I mean? I went home and I started calling, the kids and the family and, telling them, like, call this one, call that one. My kids, I called both of them, let them know that. And then the thing that she said to me was, I don't deserve this. I said, no, you don't. So, but I went out of there feeling a little more better because she's finally in a hospital getting the kind of care that they found out she needs, right? And I want to come back for the surgery. So I said, can I? And those, they had a male cop there and a female cop, and they patted me down and all that shit they do at the jail, same old shit. Right in the hospital, I'm like, I have nothing on me, no phone, nothing, because you have to leave it somewhere. They treat you just like this, almost as bad as they treated you every Sunday when you went to visit, And I remember, now, anyways, I forgot where it was. God. So, yeah, so I said, I'm going to come back for your surgery. It's at 7:30 a.m. in the morning. So I go and oh, no, you can't. Oh, no, you can't come for the surgery. Oh, how I got to visit her in the hospital on Saturday night was at about 4:00 and 5:00 in the afternoon. I get a call, and I call back. There's a message to call the jail, or this lieutenant. I got her name somewhere, but Lieutenant so and so Wilson, I believe. Anyways, call her back. So I call her back. She said, the warden has your daughter's health is declining. So the warden has awarded you a bedside visit for an hour. Where is she? What hospital, So then they told me, Trinity. I'm in my car already driving, like a maniac. And then I get there and they do all that, take your purse and your phone, all that crap, in the hospital. And then they have somebody walk you up to the room, pat you down, all that. Same old, same old. That's I didn't like doing that. I hated it. I hated going there. I hated it every time. I went to 2 parole hearings. And I remember the last time that I went, they're always in March for Jennifer. And that second one, the lady said, because she had one of those big tickets in February, and this was in March. And and that was, that was one time she called right after I visited her. I'm on my way home. She dials calling me before I could hardly get out of the parking lot. And she's crying her eyes out. Mom, they set me up. They set me up. Now she came to see me in the visiting room. That's all she got to do, right? And when she goes back from our visit, they tell her they do this strip search or whatever they do, and she said there find some dope in her pocket, you know. And I was like, oh no. And I said, give me that. And she knew that she was being retaliated against by somebody that wasn't in her cell anymore. Uh, that I guess, she was getting back at Jen, but I don't know if it was her. What if it was the guards? Who knows? Shit. But anyways, I was the only one that saw her. Okay, I was the only way that she could have got it. So I said, "Give me that. Uh, First of all, give me that person's name that you think set you up." And I'm calling Lansing in the morning, so I called, and left a message, and then they called me back. I told them that person's name, and I also told them, now listen to this story, lady. And I told her what I just told you. Are we on a time limit here? J Love.
I'm here. We just listening to you.
Okay, is it too much?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Anyways, we didn't get anything there, and then so she got a big ticket for that. So then when I went in March, I wasn't having any good feelings about this because of that big ticket that she grieved and everything else, but went nowhere and nobody believed her or whatever. And so I knew that parole hearing wasn't going to be that good. Okay. But before you go in there, they tell you, now you can, some kind of uniform person, one of those, a woman, maybe she came down with the lady from the parole office from Lansing or wherever they are at. Anyways, she says, now when you come out of here, no touching, no hugs, no nothing. Okay, that's okay. So we go into the hearing. When we come out, I take a step towards Jennifer because I was going to hug her. I forgot, okay? Now you're hugging me, and she got, her in trouble for that. Got her, one of those punishments they dole out. And then we were supposed to have one this March that we're in right now, right? And we talked about this. I said, just say anything, Jennifer. Say anything, just because now she's all clean and she goes to all them classes and stuff, trying to get out of there. We had all this stuff set up. I even bought clothes that she would like for when I bought them 2 years ago. I bought them 2 years ago after the first parole hearing, or before the first parole. So, anyways, I better. So, what else can I tell you? That's her recent. Those are the recent history, but all the rest of it before that, I didn't care if she, spoke up. That's how I brought her up.
Yeah.
I let my kids say anything they wanted. Some of it I didn't like at all, right?
Yeah.
I never slapped them or nothing. Oh, I slapped her one time. She started a fire in the kitchen cupboard. And I reacted like, get out of here, and slapped her. That was the only time she got slapped. Anyways.
Nick,
You know what I used to tell my kids? You know how Jen told
Mom.
Joey to...
Mama.
What? What?
Well, Jay wants to ask Nick a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Go
okay.
ahead.
I just wanted to ask Nick.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine, Susan. Nick, what would you want to say to the people who were accountable for your mom's care?
Oh, so much. You know, I was trying to think about what to say before, we got on here. I didn't really know what to expect too much. But I was just thinking about it, and my mom and these women in general, um, they're paying their dues. They made mistakes and they're being punished already, like just by being there, just by not being with their families, um, you know, being doing whatever they do in there, clearly, uh, stuff that shouldn't be happening, and then stuff that's normal for a prison, but they're already paying their dues. And for these women, for my mother to be punished to the point of death, to the point of sickness, to the point of, um, never really having a chance to get out of there, or to get out of there and end up back there. They're not doing their job. The people at the prison aren't doing their job. The people in the courts aren't doing their jobs. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating that I will never see my mother or talk to my mother again because of the system that these women are put into. And how many times do you need to be punished?
Hmm.
You know, just once is my opinion. You make a
Right.
mistake, you get punished, you go where they were, and that's the punishment. It's not a life of luxury. Maybe you don't get the best whatever, but maybe you should. You know what I mean? Maybe just being there is the punishment, and then you just live a normal life like everybody else does. And I just I will never get to reunite with my mother. I will never get to, feel her embrace. Uh, I'll never get to hear her voice again. So, um, there's a lot of feelings, a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So, um, yeah, that's how I feel. I could talk for a long time, but I'll let Joe speak on it a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah. So in terms of what I would say to the people that are accountable for killing my sister, I mean, I'm not going to say what I would like to say. It would be inappropriate. Um, it would be I would have to use a lot of foul language. Um, and I'm a father now, so I'm trying to do better. But I can tell you this: um, my sister was wrongfully convicted. She was wrongfully convicted, and we're going to have more on that soon. But I can tell you right now, she was wrongfully convicted. She was punished for a crime she did not even commit. And so she died for a crime she did not even commit, though death was not the sentence. Right. And
Hmm.
the United States of America has a problem, and the state of Michigan, most specifically, has a problem with incarcerating women. Um,
Hmm.
I know because the prison population in Michigan has ballooned, um, particularly for women. It's the fastest growing population in prisons is women. The United States of America cannot get enough of locking up working class women. Disproportionately black, but as you can see, my sister is not black, right? And this is affecting working class people across racial lines. We live in a punishment state, people. And my sister was punished to death for a crime she did not commit, and I can tell you, we're committed to holding those accountable. They should be concerned. They should be concerned about their jobs. They should be concerned about being held accountable within the limits of the law, within the very reaches of the law, right? Because we, as I said before, and as my nephew and my mom uh, has made clear, there's nothing we can do uh, to replace what's gone. Um, but this is happening to too many families, too many women. suffering needlessly, and unjustly. And I would tell them, I'm coming for you. We're coming for you. That's what I would tell them, right? Um, it's this is a this was a consequence. My sister's death was a consequence of political action, right? This is what we do. This is the fate of people who the state of Michigan deems disposable, who has some of the longest sentencing of any state, right? And my sister isn't the first. You had Teresa Dunlap in 2023. Gretchen Whitmer would not let her go, stage 4 cancer, right? They had mildew or mold all up and through her chemo unit. And her family, pleaded with the.
Yeah, they as a matter of fact, their family was here, and we had did a long campaign pleading with the governor about Teresa Dunlap, um, her family, and the governor wouldn't move on it. I don't know. Anybody can take this questions. What could we say today to lawmakers or even the governor that you would want them to do or want them to change, um, and how they react to medical issues, medical clemencies, healthcare? I mean, inside these Michigan prisons.
I can talk to that.
Okay.
Um, that's where I was today. There was a table with a letter to the governor, right, Whitmer,
Hmm.
regarding Crystal Clark. So I signed it, and then there was a speaker that was there on behalf of Crystal Clark and the organization. So, anyways, I think I'm wondering what the hell's wrong with that governor. Okay, doesn't she have kids? Doesn't she have a daughter? Come on, man. All these women that are there, and then there's there are visitors that come in the door with me. That wait. You kind of like know each other if you go on a certain day every week, and you meet their boyfriends and their husbands and their so you kind of we're the visitors, but we all kind of know each other. How you sit down in that uh, place. But yeah, I can't believe that. What I have Dingo for representative. How is she on that? I mean, she's federal U.S. Senate congresswoman, but I did call my Democratic state senator. Shink is her name, Sue Shink, and her the thing they brought up at the Lansing hearing, the uh, omnibudsman called me on Thursday. And by then I heard from Lansing that they finally got Jennifer to sign a release of information for the medical. Well, I was her power of attorney. I know she told them that. Her daughter, uh, Allie, she signed one of those release of informations on October 24th. Okay. All of that. And then also what I heard at that hearing is the corrections department gets $12,000 per prisoner for health care. Jen had an abscess tooth. Okay, I said, well, go to the dentist. She said, I try. I go there and they don't. The dentist, they make appointments for you. You go there, there's no dentist. So that's what sepsis is. That's what was going to her heart. That's for months, you know? And she had beautiful teeth. Look at the picture. Okay.
Hmm.
Look, those are real. Yeah. Yeah, she had a beautiful smile.
Yes.
Ma, I want to say
What?
this. So speaking of
Oh,
that
I
hearing,
want to say one more thing because I want
go
to
ahead, Ma.
address. Um, you said I heard you say that Jen taught you to, don't trust the police. Well, I agree. However, the way I said it was stay out of the system, stay away from those people. My mother taught me that. She was her parents were immigrants, right? And she's Polish. Okay, she lived in Chicago, Blue Island, Illinois, where all the gangsters hung around.
Yeah,
Okay, and she
Ma,
grew up in
Ma.
that time. Okay, wait a minute. No, so don't. Um, I believe that you should stay out of the system, but I also be. I'm an activist. Okay, I go to all those rallies and stuff. I want to. I didn't know there was a protest yesterday, J Lo, but let me know next time.
Yes, definitely.
The jail. Okay, I'm done.
I definitely let you know.
Thank you, Ma. So I want to say that, regarding that hearing last month, we sent a letter to every representative on that committee. Um, Alexandria, who could not be here today, reached out to every single member on that committee, including Lori Pohutsky. And I want to give, you know, given some of the rhetoric, you know what I mean, that we heard on that day, I want to give, the benefit of the doubt that, these people are going to tap into their humanity and be like, hey, it shouldn't be a policy, because it's been a policy for the state of Michigan to violate these women's Eighth Amendment rights, right? We have a constitutional right against cruel and unusual punishment, and that is a matter of practice. That is what this institution is. And so, what we want, I can tell you this, what we want is very clear. That facility, shut the fuck down. That's number one. Shut that place down. Let those women go. Let those women go. Most of those women, I guarantee you, are there on faulty cases because the state of Michigan has a long history of it. Kim Worthy is known, right? The Wayne County is known for locking up people for shit they didn't do, right? So let them go, shut that facility down, right? That
Yeah,
is that is a crime against human rights, that facility exists as it is today. So shut that place down, let those women go. That's what they should do. That's what the state of Michigan should do. In fact, the state of Michigan, instead of spending so much money on locking up working class women, it should actually spend money supporting working class women,
yeah,
making their lives more safe, making their communities more stable by investing in things like education and pre-K and shit like that, not locking people up and punishing them to death. So shut down the valley, shut down that death camp, right, and stop prioritizing punishment, right, over a real legitimate approach to the issue of safety, because that's what they say, right? We got to lock these women up. We got to lock these women up. We're all safer, right? I don't think so. They've been doing that. They've been locking people up. The United States locks up, has more people than any country in the world per capita locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them for shit
Right.
they didn't do. So you can go ahead and shut that place down, right? Go ahead and let those women go and start figuring out a better way, right, to make our communities safe, because locking them up in death camps ain't it.
Exactly. I know your mom mentioned Debbie Dingo and Sue Shank.
hey,
Trisha and I were in. We have been talking to them for I don't know how long, Trisha, about a year, 2 years, constantly talking to them about Huron Valley, what goes in it. They went in there September of last year, had a meeting. Debbie Dingo, Shoe Sank, Jimmy Wilson, Donovan McKinley, Morgan Foreman, and a few other people. They all went in there and addressed the issues about what was going on, Crystal and Huron Valley, the mold, the the mold in the showers. I mean, we were talking about this in 2022, hanging from the ceiling so thick that it looks like shag carpet, and when they take a shower, it falls all over their bodies. Like we've been talking to these people, so they finally go in there, right? With and talk to Heidi Washington. They all go in there. Sue
Who's
Sink,
Heidi? Is that one of those wardens?
yeah, she's the director of MDLC.
Oh,
So
okay.
Senator Sue Sink and
Do you know?
State Rep Morgan, they were sick. Why? Because they were highly allergic to mold. They
Right.
go in there and they get sick. Crystal, she's the first person that understands what's going on with them because what they was exhibiting is some of the things that she exhibits in there on a daily basis. So they're in
Yeah.
there sneezing and coughing and all this stuff. And do you think they talk about it when they get out of there? Do you think they said anything on the record to? We even talked to different people, like, hey, talk to them, different reporters and everything. They were sick. They were sick. Nothing. Nobody goes on the record and say, hey. So how do we expect if you won't say anything about your own health, how do we expect for you to stand up for women who are sick? Years and years and years and years and years of illnesses. Um, I don't know. We can't because you won't even say nothing about your own self. What happened to you? So, but that's not gonna stop us from, standing up for Crystal and standing up for the women. But I'm just saying these is the examples of what we have experienced with these people. Go ahead, Trisha, you can say something.
Well, I felt that way about that
Mama,
omnibus.
mama,
No, no,
mama,
no. She
No,
The
mama.
omnibus rep that was there at the end of the hearing.
Oh.
He was a dope. Okay,
yeah.
I mean, he said that stupid stuff. Okay,
He was a dope.
he was dumb. Oh yeah, we're looking into that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's when I left. I left out of there. You know. Okay, go ahead. Whoever.
Yeah. Um, First of all, anything that you all have to say far outweighs anything that I could say. So I just always want to yield space to you all in this moment.
I beg your
Um,
pardon. You graced us with that poem.
and you know what? That was me on the stage this morning at the rally, at the No Kings March in Ann Arbor. Um,
Who
but
said, nobody there said that, did they?
yeah, no, I was saying I was the one that was on the stage speaking this morning, and the table was our nonprofit survivors speak. But what I would say about these folks, what do you say? What do
Women
you
are
say to
just
people who over and over and over and over again just ignore the cries for help? And so the only thing that we've been doing is building, because when you're met with that kind of opposition, you can do one or two things. And most people quit because it becomes too hard. But for us, I like to say we've been posseing up. Posse up mean you go get your big brothers, your big everybody that come on in, right? And everybody come and stand together, and to battle this system. And so, that's what we've been committed to, spreading the awareness, because that's the thing. This was so isolated. They were able to isolate so many voices of so many women that people are scared to speak out. And so I'm grateful that we've been able to spread awareness in other people as well. But
how many women are there? Over 2,000?
20, close to 2,500 women, of which it saddens me because they said we were lying. We didn't even say it. Somebody posted that the women that were arriving there newly to the facility were sleeping on the floor for 2 weeks.
In the place? In that?
In that death camp, as Lloyd says. And so when I look at the article that just came out about them shutting down a portion of the facility in Chippewa, And I said to myself, this makes absolutely no sense. This shows how blatant of disrespect towards women this really is. Because if you can close down a portion of a facility in a heartbeat like that, then what was stopping you? What was stopping you from when we first pulled up to this prison? That was January the 2nd, 2022. Before then, we were talking about it on Turning a Moment. What stopped you? You know what stop? You know what stops people? Their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
People's hearts. I look at it. We have a woman attorney general. You've got a woman running this facility, MDOC, running all the facilities. You've got a woman as the Secretary of State. You've got a woman as the governor of this state, and everybody says, "Oh, we need more women." No, not if they're going to act like that.
You're right.
If they're going to treat people like that, do we really need those people in office? So
Yeah,
what do you do? Stiff-necked people that don't want to do what's right. I don't know what to do other than continue to call them out, to rally, to spread the awareness, to ask for public hearings. There's really not much we can do because she has the power of this. With the power of this pen, oh, this is a Sharpie. With the power of this pen, she could release Crystal. She could release those women that are sick. She could do so much. She could
yeah,
close the prison down.
there's a lot of them that are sick.
A lot of them.
Per capita there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. When they get $2.2 billion, MDOC gets. And
Every
that's
year.
what the elected officials was raising in the public hearing. He said, tell me what's the problem. You're getting the money. There's a woman in there right now. She's getting what is it? Some kind of shot, $150,000 a year she gets for this shot. Well, for MS? How can you give somebody $150,000 for a shot and then deny other people? What is that?
That's an inmate that's getting a shot for MS, or it's a
For
Some
MS,
kind of treatment for MS.
$150,000 a year.
ugh,
Let them
okay.
go. Let them go. Let them go. Let
Yeah,
them go.
just let them all out of
Let
there.
them go. The thing is that people have just been dying in this facility every court because they publish all that stuff on the website. You know, we've been looking through all that data, you know, that they have to make public, and the conditions that people are dying from are don't have to be life threatening, right? They don't have to be life threatening, right? And the vast majority of these people pose no threat to society. You know who poses a threat to society? The president of the United States. He's killing people every day over in a foreign nation, right? Illegally, right? He's 54 felonies or some shit like that. Been convicted of many felonies. He does not serve time. Rich people don't serve time for crimes. Only really, you know what I mean? Once in a while, they might like serve up a little fish or something if they touched rich people's money or some rich people's property. But if you're poor and you're black and you're working class, you're disposable. That's what we got to deal with. That's what we got to deal with. That's the thing is, correction women could have done something. She could have done something about this prison over the 8 years she's been the executive of the state of Michigan. She has the executive power to step in at any time and shut it down, right? Change things, you know what I mean? Literally, this is a state of emergency. We got to rescue these women because their Eighth Amendment is being violated, right? Cruel and unusual punishment because we took, you know, a so-called, you know, oath for the people. No, they took an oath to the people who are funding their campaigns, right? And that's the reason nothing's happened. They could do something. They don't want to. They activate, and not just because of their heart. It's also because they're paid by the JPay people, the people who the private companies who profit off the immiseration of these women, the JPay and their private medical provider, right? Where
Right.
is all that money going?
The
It's going into
food
somebody's pocket 'cause
vendors.
it's not going into healthcare. It's not going,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Into the needs of the incarcerated women. Where is that massive budget going? $2.2 billion. You know how many women you could lift out of poverty with that?
$12,000 per per inmate in the state of Michigan per year. That's a lot of dough.
Yeah.
You know they don't pay them all that much. These companies, the inmates have to pay their phone bills, and their relatives pay the JPay. You know. And that place, what's that? The Commerce, wherever you got to send money, like.
Yeah, so many people making money. Everybody making money, and the women get
and then
$10 a week for a meal.
I used to tell Jennifer, I said, Jen, don't take the bait. Don't take the bait. Don't, with this. I said, these people, they're all making money off of all the prisoners here,
Mm-hmm.
And then they give them a ticket and all that crap, and it's a big circle. I said, come on, man, you know better. You know this. The guards, and some inmates have deals going and all that shit. And then they take advantage of everybody else. It's just like our society, the billionaires and at the top take advantage of everybody else, I mean, everybody else. And that's a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to keep doing it.
Right.
That's all I can think of.
I just want to share, because unfortunately I do have to jump off. We're getting ready for our suicide survivor and mental wellness support group on tonight. But I just want to say to you all that the strength that you continue to exemplify, Lloyd, your powerful words, Nick, your powerful words, and Alexandria and Mom Susan, I just want to say love to you all, and we will not stop saying her name. We will not stop fighting alongside you all. I got some new family members now. I already sent I was going to tell you that I sent the poem to your emails. So it is there. And I just want to say I love you all so much, and we will be in touch soon. And we will not forget to reach out to you all about future protests.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Trisha. Appreciate you.
All right. Love to you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Trisha.
See you, Trisha.
Bye.
Lloyd, I want to play something. I want to play some of what you were saying at the oversight hearing, and then we can talk about it. Just 1 second. Here we go.
And that's what happened, and that was a violation of her constitutional rights, her Eighth Amendment. She has a right to not endure cruel and unusual punishment. And, like the environment, here's the thing. Women's Huron Valley, you're here doing a news story now, but this is not news. This is known, this is history. Since 1984, this institution, Women's Huron Valley, has had a problem with mistreating the women who are incarcerated there. Why? How do I know that? Because there's been dozens upon dozens of lawsuits, dozens upon dozens of investigations, and still nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And so you know what that tells me? That tells me that the state of Michigan intends for those women to suffer as they do in Women's Huron Valley. The state intended for my sister to pass away from gross medical neglect. And in that case, there is no reason for that institution to exist. There's no reason for an institution. There's no reason for an institution like that in a society that respects human rights and human dignity. And they did not respect the human rights and the dignity of my sister, and they will regret treating her the way they did. They will regret the day they crossed the Jenny Wallace family, and we will keep fighting. Not just for justice, but to change the very system that allows for us to punish working class women to death in an institution that has no value. It makes nobody safer. In fact, the only thing that institution has done is make people less safe. Subjected women to sexual assault by the people who work there. Subjected women to malnutrition and poor nutrition. Let me tell you what they feed them. They feed them $2.74 per meal in Women's Huron Valley. Less than $10 a day. My cat gets more. I spend more on my cat's food than they do on women at Huron Valley. Okay, so this is not. Oh, there's just a few problems with the facility. This facility was meant to be hell on earth. It was meant to be a death camp. And where is Gretchen Whitmer, who hasn't said nothing about this prison, nothing about the conditions that have these women have been suffering? My sister died alone. She died alone. And we will never forget that. We're never going to forget that. We're never going to let it go. We're never, ever going to forget that. And there's nothing you can do to change that. But you can stop the suffering.
You know, I was thinking about that the other day, what you said. I was talking to Crystal, and she said this just a few days ago. They have food with maggots in it. They have food with mold. And they told them to cut around it and serve it to the women anywhere. This is Huron Valley. This is in Michigan. You know, you would think that we're talking on here talking about a third world country when we're talking about this prison with mold, food with maggots, mold hanging from the women, full of cancer in there, dying of cancer, just all kinds of horrific things. It's like they got more going on in the men's prison in that one facility, the only facility in the state for women. So I was just, you know, when she said that, it just triggered me because I remember you talking about this, you know, when we was at the oversight hearing. And so, I mean, how did you, you know, what did you take from that hearing? What was you expecting? What did you want to happen at that hearing?
Well, I mean, at that hearing, you know, what I heard, you know, from these politicians, right? Well, first, let me address the issue about the food, because you mentioned some terrible, you know what I mean, some horrific that they're forced to eat, not you know, not even just low quality food, but like spoiled food, right? And that's you know, that is actually these companies like Aramark and these other companies that service prisons, right? They're making hand over fist. These are private companies that are just making money off of selling, you know what I mean, shit that ain't fit for an animal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because like, you know, you cannot keep an adult woman, you know, especially women with medical conditions, right, healthy on that little, right? So what are they doing with all the money? Again, like back to that, like that is follow that money, because wherever that money is going, it ain't going to that, right? In terms of that hearing, we want a second hearing. We want Women's Huron Valley. We want Heidi Washington to have to answer for their actions. You know what I mean? Directly. We want a hearing where we hear from the people who have been affected by this, right? In an official capacity, because we didn't have, you know what I mean? There wasn't room for, you know, people to give testimony. I would have loved to hear someone testify on behalf of Crystal Clark, or, you know, be able to testify on, you know, have someone testify on, you know, my mom, or somebody testify on behalf of our family, you know what I mean? And, you know, but I heard them, you know, politicians, you know, blowing their horns, right? Saying that this is an outrage and this shouldn't happen and yada, yada, yada. But where are they? You know what I mean? What have they done? Right? Because you're empowered to do something about it, right? Or put pressure on the people that are. And so, you know, that's what I want to come out of that hearing. Is I want some real concrete accountability. I want some limiting of the power of that malicious prison administration to be able to punish these women, right? You know, I want those politicians at that prison every fucking day, right? Should be dropping in. Hello, are they getting medical care? I want to see where the thought. Look, I'm looking under here. Where's the $12,000? Is it over here? Is it over here? I want them doing that kind of stuff. I want them dragging in the head of the MDOC and, you know what I mean, grilling whoever that is, whoever that asshole is, right? I want some justice, right? I can't get my sister back, so I want the people, right, responsible for taking her away from us right? To be held responsible for that in a real meaningful way, in a meaningful way. And I want us to move beyond the state of Michigan, move beyond, right? This archaic bullshit ass fucking way of supposedly dealing with public safety. It don't got nothing to do with public safety. It has to do with unemployed women or women who have been targeted, you know what I mean? Through bullshit drug crime, you know what I mean? Swept up in the system. Fuck that. Like, what? These politicians are doing worse shit. These politicians are killing people. Get out of here. We need to move on from this. Stop locking up poor women in Michigan. That's what I want coming out of that goddamn hearing. I want another hearing. And like I said, I meant it. I meant it when I said if we don't get it, we're going to have one on the motherfucking steps of that Capitol. Mark my words, I'm not playing. You know what I mean? Like, anybody who knows me knows I ain't playing. You know what I mean? I'll make you out. Your political career will literally, I'll be your worst nightmare. You're literally worst nightmare. We will be your worst nightmare until we get change in the state of Michigan. Right. And it's like you said, we're going to keep building until we get that. But yeah, I would like to see what we never see politicians do is take action. Actions, always a lot of words, always a lot of rhetoric, never a whole lot of action, because the only thing they're concerned about is that next election, that re-election. Fuck your re-election. I want freedom for these women that are being oppressed in this institution. That's what I want.
Yeah. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what Joey said is mirrored for me, but just to his point, like, I was at that hearing. I heard, I don't know, 10, 12 different representatives talk about how terrible it was in that prison, how angry they were, how much they needed to see change, but they're the ones who need to make that change. Like Joey said, like Lloyd said, they're the ones who need to step up and be at that prison, seeing these things for themselves, and they're not doing that. And I haven't heard anything about what that hearing led to, because it probably didn't lead to anything. And hopefully it will lead to a second hearing and a third hearing, and whatever we need to do, to get that, we will. And I'll be right by Joey's side doing that. It's the prison is a scapegoat for, it's a out of sight, out of mind, women, men, whatever, people make mistakes and they get thrown away, and they're forgotten about, and they're not fed well, and they're not given medical treatment. And what's the point, man? Rehabilitate these people, or don't have it at all. Like Joey said earlier, use this money for education, use this money for mental health care, use this women to make these people better before they ever get to those places, because what they're doing is sweeping stuff under the rug. They're finding people, like Joey said, who have, usually working class, mostly non-white people, who are making small mistakes, and they're using that to make themselves look better, to make money off of these people. And we're not going to stand for it. And people, the more we talk about it, I hope that, change is coming, and I want, we're going to be a part of that change. I'm not going to sit back any longer. I don't know if, people need it to happen to them before they understand. I see a lot of people in the comment sections, in the, whatever, in everyday life, talking about how old, you do the crime, you do the time, blah, blah, blah. But these people don't deserve this shit. People don't deserve to die because they, smoke some weed, or because they, made a mistake at some point in their life. These people are also human. And my mom was human. My mom deserved to live a long life, regardless of any issues that she may have had. Crystal Clark, excuse me. All these other women, they deserve to see their families. And these politicians and the people at those prisons are doing everything in their power to never allow that to happen. And as long as we keep speaking out and having podcasts and, going on the steps of the Capitol and stuff like that. We're not going to let them get away with it. So,
Yeah, I was had a conversation with Trisha, and I said, I think what we're doing is working, and like because now they're trying to do stuff to every time we say something, they're trying to counteract it. So they hear us. Instead of them fixing a problem, they'll go back and paint more, or they'll go back and do other little surface things more. And so they know that we're on them, that you're on them, that we're on them, and that other people are. We just have to continue it because once we stop, that's when they're gonna stop. They think we're gonna just die down and be quiet. To be honest, I think they was thinking that 2 years ago. Oh, they're gonna go
mhm.
away. It's gonna die down because it does. Because people get frustrated and they stop. But we cannot stop because so many women, like you said, are living in um, terrible conditions and they don't deserve it. Jennifer, you're right. She deserved to live. She, everybody, first of all, Michigan don't even have the death penalty. So nobody should be dying inside these horrific prisons. You know, there should be more preventative things going on instead of they taking money from other programs and put more money into prisons. We just watched a hearing on the other day, and people were asking for 3 million for this and 2 million for that, and all these prison programs or at the prison programs. But if we put 3 million here for something for women or something for children and something to help people get their GEDs and something to help people training programs so they can get a decent paying job or whatever it is that people need, we wouldn't have to put 2.2 billion into these prisons. Now, in the beginning, like before COVID, the numbers was going down, the prison numbers were going down, and they actually closed a facility or two. But now you look at it, they're going back up and people are getting longer sentences. And Michigan is like one of the states that get long sentences for whatever reason. And so you keep these people in there longer, you keep them in conditions that's unsafe and unhealthy, and then you're upset when people lash out about it, and speak up about it. Crystal had been speaking about what was going on with her since 20 2012. She was writing letters. This is what I'm saying. Like they set up in the hearing, some of these people wasn't there then, but a lot of them know about it. She wrote letters. She wrote to the governors, all the ones before her. She wrote to all different kind of people talking about her condition, sent them her medical records. Um, to the point that the prison created a narrative and started saying that she was crazy and stopped all the women, other women, from talking about it. And it's in that lawsuit that they said that they did this. And so right now they're fighting for qualified immunity because they're trying to say, hey, it's not our fault that this happened, but it is. It is your fault because you knew about it and did nothing. You knew about the conditions and did nothing. And for your mom or your sister to have such a terrible infection around her heart says that what you're doing in there is horrific, is medical neglect, and somebody needs to be held accountable for it. So, um, is there anything that you want to say, Lord or Nick, that you want people to know that's important about the legacy of your mom, and also what you feel is important for how to support you going forward in this fight for justice for you, for Jennifer.
Yeah, I would just say, again, you know, respectfully to my mother, I'm upset. I'm upset with the system. I'm upset with the prison. I'm upset with people, people in society in general who don't care about life after mistakes are made. we all make mistakes. We all go through things in life, and that doesn't make our lives any less important. Um, my mom was one of those people. Crystal was one of those people. Um, met, many, many others, obviously. But something needs to be done, and a shift in how society thinks about these people needs to happen because, again, these are human lives we're talking about. It's the same as, um, you know, it's the same as caring about other children. It's the same as caring about, men in prison, blah, 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 blah. Like, we need to think about life and how important that is to us, as opposed to condemning women or condemning anybody for mistakes that they have made in their life. And um, I just hope that we can make change here. I hope that we can make change for my mother's sake, in honor of her, and in honor of all of these other women who are suffering in this place. And um, I don't know, I'm not as good with words as Joey, but I'm trying. I just think that we need to look at this a little bit differently. We're not trying to, um, say that crime should go unpunished, but think about life a little bit differently. Think about how we can make society better in all. And rehabilitation is important. Mental health is important. Um, taking care of our people is important. And if we're letting them get to the point of being in prison in the first place, and then acting as if their lives don't matter after that fact, then what are we really doing?
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I just want to say a few things. First of all, thank you, Jay Love and Trisha, and turning a moment into a movement. We really appreciate you uplifting our story, um, and joining forces with us. Um, but I don't want to let this opportunity pass to let everybody know. Listen, my sister was a badass. She would want you to know that. She was a badass mom. She was a badass writer. We got volumes of journals and letters. She was a prolific writer. Um, we hope to publish that someday. And she would be proud of us, man. She would be proud of her children standing up big and tall. Um, and her mama, and her baby brother. And you know, um, yeah, yeah, I'm just at a loss for words, really. I really appreciate y'all for having us, and we're gonna keep fighting. That's just what it is.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I know when I first heard about Jennifer, Crystal told me that the last time she saw her, she stopped her and prayed for her. And she said to me, Jennifer prayed for me. And I'm like, Jennifer looks so bad, but she prayed for me. And I just was thinking that that's a big hearted person, that she was to just look out and see somebody else that was hurting. And so um, I know they had a great friendship. And when she passed away, Crystal was just adamant about speaking up, for her. And I did some recording with her about Jennifer and about the conditions inside of there. And so I want to, still just send my love to you guys. And I know it's a lot. I've been there as well. Unfortunately, my son was also wrongly convicted. And so hopefully, when you guys are ready, we can talk about the wrongful conviction peace, because that's why we're also here. And just take care of each other, love on each other, and we're gonna be together. We're gonna be back out there in Huron Valley, giving, and wherever else, standing up for, your mom, your sister, and all the women out there that has been, treated um, harshly by those conditions inside of there. So I appreciate you both for being here today, and thank you so much, and thank you to your wonderful mom. We had such a
Thank you.
great conversation before coming on, and even when I first met her at the hearing. So we just hugged and everything. She's awesome as well. So thank you guys for joining me tonight.
She's got a lot to say. She needs her own podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes,
so much,
she
Shay.
did. Yes. Have a good evening.
Have a good one.
You too. So, hi, you guys. So, before I leave tonight, Trisha had to leave early, but I want to also remind you of our event that's coming up. It's called the Justice for Women at Huron Valley. It's a lunch and learn. It's Friday, April the 10th, 2026, from 12 to 3. It's at U of M. And so join us there. We'll have more information about it. There's the information is right here. It's on Gates Avenue in Ann Arbor, Michigan, classroom 1225. We was there, classroom 0420. We were there before for our community conversation, the same room. We'll have this posted. We'll share it also for those who listen to this platform. We'll also share it on the link tree, on Crystal's link tree. And so be sure to join us there April the 10th for the lunch and learn. And I want to thank you guys for joining us this evening. And we'll see you back next week on Turning a Moment into a Movement. Good night.
Just a light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Just a light of mine. Just a light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh Lord, just let it shine. This light of mine, this light of mine. Oh Lord, would you please just let it shine. Take the drama out of my life. Oh Lord, every night the pain ain't right. I wake up at night, I never sleep. 26, 10, and 7, that's just me. Every day I need a little seed. I need a little fresh air, man, I need to breathe. All I know is trauma, all I know is tickets. All I know is no visit. All I know is a mission to get straight up out of prison. Lord have mercy for it. Lord have mercy on my people. Preacher Mary Washington and all my real. Lord have mercy with my people. I pray to God, we really need you. When I was down bad, when things weren't going right, every time I prayed at night, I put my hands up in my face. I said, Lord have mercy, little light of mine. Lord God, please let it shine. It's the drama that I live in my life. I swear to God, I was a bad guy every night. 10 toes down, salute. Everybody suffering, everybody who trying to make a way. Everybody looking for the sky, everybody looking for that piece of pie. In a law library, I know what that feel like. Hoping that somebody get active and involved in your situation. Man, pop your collar and pray. Cause Lord have mercy on my soul. And they make bad guy father get out soon. And the rest of those brothers who be mobbing to child each morning. Oh man, I ain't going to this afternoon. Man, I'ma miss dinner today. I got a couple noodles. Hey, you know what that feel like? Do you know what it is? And if you a victim of a wrongful conviction, suffered and served by Ken Worthy, then I know that you know. what that pain feel like. And your mama know what that pain feel like. Your father know what that pain feel like. With that light, let that little shine. Let that light shine a little light of mine, huh? Bad guy, Doughboy Week, all these great people in this great world of ours. 10 toes down, salute. I appreciate you, bad guy. I appreciate you, Week. I appreciate the tech. I appreciate everybody in the studio. We gonna pop off that LV, ooh-wee, cause that's what they be liking to see. But I hope you hear the miss and then you see me fresh. Salute.